What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii and I am back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. In today's video, a little bit of a continuation from the previous two videos that are on the channel right now, where in this video we are actually going to talk about and discuss and break down every single new character that is about to arrive on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global within the Katakuri SUGO-FEST, arriving on the 27th of September, 1900 PST time. So I'm really excited for this SUGO-FEST. If you guys want to know whether or not you should be pulling, or you don't know how the SUGO-FEST is structured, make sure to go ahead and check out my previous video. There should be a card in the top of the video. Make sure to check that out so you understand what to expect heading into this SUGO-FEST. But without further ado, let's get into breaking down these brand new characters. So starting off from the highest ID, heading all the way down to Katakuri, the first character that we are going to be discussing is going to be Charlotte Oven of the Big Mom Pirates. Now Charlotte Oven obviously is going to be a 5-star character, and he is a Dex powerhouse fighter character, and at max level, at level 99, he has 2,808 HP, 1454 attack, and 184 recovery, and he has 30 cost and 4 socket spots. However, with limit break, his stats do go up a little bit as well, and he does gain an additional socket spot. Talking about his captain ability, he boosts the attack of powerhouse and fighter characters by 1.65 times, and he also reduces damage received by 7%. So this means that if you have a powerhouse character and a fighter character in your team, and it's one character with both classes, they get 1.65 multiplied by 1.65. So it totals out to a 2.72 times multiplier, which is not a terrible captain effect, honestly, because there are lots of characters that are powerhouse and fighter together. So that is a reasonably usable captain effect. But talking about his special ability and what makes this guy so good, starting off at 19 turns, maxing at 13 turns, and when you limit break him, he does gain an additional cooldown down to 12 turns at max. And it states that if the enemy is delayed when you activate the special, he will boost the attack of fighters, strikers, shooters, cerebral, and powerhouse characters by 2 times for 1 turn. However, if the enemy is not delayed when you activate the special, he will only boost fighters and powerhouse characters by 1.75 times for 3 turns. So the great thing about Charlotte Oven is, as a sub, he can be used quite well on a couple of different teams, obviously for pure fighters or for pure powerhouse, but the fact that he boosts those other classes if the enemy is delayed means that obviously he's going to be working extremely well with his brother being Charlotte Katakuri. So this is a must-have unit in my personal opinion. If you are, owning Katakuri, you need to have this guy as well to enable your teams to just output a lot of damage. He's an extremely useful type booster for Katakuri squads, but outside of that, you can still use him on a lot of different teams, including the fighter and powerhouse teams. So yeah, this is a very powerful type booster in One Piece Treasure Cruise. Also, to quickly mention, he has 2 different crewmate abilities. The first one states that he will go ahead and have 2 times attack against any strength enemies, which is quite nice. Means that he has no negative damage output against any enemies. And also, he will go ahead and reduce the crew's special bind duration by 1 turn. This is a very useful crewmate ability. The fact that if your whole crew is special binded for 1 turn and you just need, that 1 turn to get rid of, he just does it by himself. An extremely powerful crewmate ability. Moving on to the next character now, going by ID, the next character should be Bobbin of the Big Mom Pirates. Now, Bobbin is also a 5-star character. He is a quick slasher free spirit character. At max level, at level 99, he has 2,446 HP, 1365 attack, and 276 recovery. He obviously has 30 cost and 4 socket spots, and when you limit break him, he obviously gets a little bit of a stat boost and also gains an additional socket spot. His captain ability is quite one-dimensional, just boosting the attack of Quick and Psy by 2.5 times, nothing really too noteworthy there. However, Bobbin has one of the most powerful special abilities in the entire game. So, it will go ahead and start at 18 turns, and it will go ahead and max at 12 turns, and he does go down an additional cooldown with Limit Break, and it will go ahead and reduce enemies' damage threshold, rainbow % damage reduction, increased defense, and end of turn heal, and also crew's attack down by 5 turns. He gets rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different debuffs by 5 turns, and on top of this, he changes adjacent slots into matching. So if you are running a free spirit team, a slasher team, or a quick team, this character is going to be so goddamn useful for future content. Damage threshold or damage cap or damage limiter can be one of the most annoying debuffs if you don't have Blackbeard or a certain remover. Percent damage reduction, which is the rainbow shield. Increased defense, which is the blue shield. End of turn healing, which obviously the healing, and then cruise attack down. All of those debuffs are extremely good to get rid of, and this guy does all of that by himself, as well as giving you 3 separate matching orbs as a subunit. It doesn't end there. He also has 2 separate crewmate abilities. His first one will go ahead and boost his own attack by 350 if he is the last character to attack in the chain. Now, he naturally has not that much attack boost, so technically you won't really need to activate this specific crewmate ability all that often. However, his secondary crewmate ability will reduce your crew's special bind duration by 1 turn, the exact same as Charlotte Oven. So with Charlotte Oven and this guy in your crew, if you somehow build a crew around that, I don't know why you would, but if you were potentially ever building that, that's 2 turns of special bind duration removed from your crew. That's absolutely wicked. So I really love that he has this specific crewmate ability, very useful for some upcoming difficult content. The next rare recruit that we're talking about is Charlotte Amande of the Big Mom Pirates. She is an int slasher driven character at max level, at level 99. She has 2,250 HP, 1500 attack, and minus 100 recovery. She also has a 30 cost like all other rare recruits in the batch, and she has 4 socket spots. However, she gains an additional socket spot and more stats through her limit break. And also her captain ability will go ahead and boost the attack of slashers by 2.75 times and reduce your crew's recovery to 0. So 2.75 times just unconditional is a pretty decent like starter slasher boosting captain effect. That's not terrible whatsoever. However, obviously when you get more into the game you have a lot more other characters to choose from, but for just a regular 5-star rare recruit, it's not a terrible captain effect. Now, the really cool thing about Charlotte Amande is her special ability. So she has a multi-stage special ability. The first stage will start at 37 turns, max at 30 turns, and she gets an additional cooldown down to 29. And the stage 1 is 17 turns less than what you're seeing here. Now, the stage 2 special specifically reduces the defenses of all enemies by 100% for 1 turn, reduces barriers by 3 turns, and also cuts the HP of 1 enemy by 50%. So that is a crazy special ability for a rare recruit character. Obviously, they balance it out quite well with having an extremely high cooldown, but when we have big events where we have the max special ship, this character is gonna be something crazy. This character is going to be so goddamn good, especially you can run characters like Young Whitebeard and this character and run like Invasion Garp and you can instantly KO like anything. It's crazy the stuff you can do with Charlotte Amande. However, as I mentioned, her stage 1 special is 17 turns less. So with max limit break and max special, it maxes at 12 turns. And it does the same thing, except instead of 3 turns of barrier reduction, it's only 2 turns of reduction, and it's not a 50% cut, it's only a 20% HP cut. So obviously you're getting much less, but on a much lower cooldown, you're still getting, 12 turn cooldown for 2 turn barrier duration and 100% defense reduction. She's absolutely amazing, one of the most powerful rare recruits in the entire game. Charlotte Amande also has 2 crewmate abilities. Her first one will make Psi Orbs beneficial to herself, and her second crewmate ability through Limit Break will add 2 times her attack as additional non-type damage, like bonus tap timing damage. So that's also a really great crewmate ability as well. And now we can discuss the final rare recruit of this batch before we talk about the new SUGO-FEST exclusive character. Here we have Charlotte Brulee of the Big Mom Pirates. Brulee is a Psi Cerebral Striker character, and at max level, at level 99, she only has 1570 HP, 1401 attack, and 402 recovery. This is an extremely low HP stat for a 5-star rare recruit character, and she has 30 cost and 4 socket spots. Obviously with Limit Break she gets a little bit more stats, and she does gain an additional socket spot. Now, her captain effect is nothing that great at all. It will go ahead and boost the attack and recovery of side characters by 1.5 times, and also cuts the HP of each enemy by 15% at the end of each turn. Now, Brulee has a pretty confusing special ability. It starts off at 22 turns, maxing at 16 turns, however with Limit Break going down to 15, and it will change her own Recovery and Tandem Orbs into Psi Orbs. It also changes Block into Empty, and will also change all other slots on your crew, including Block Orbs, into this character's specific slot. And it will also add 30 times attack as additional bonus damage. So ideally what you want here is to get her a Psi Orb and then make your whole crew get a bunch of Psi Orbs, because she works very, very well with Charlotte Katakuri. Also, the fact that she adds 30 times attack as additional Titleist bonus damage for 5 turns, which isn't stated here, but yeah, it's for 5 turns addition of 30 times her attack. Now, her stage 1 special, it does the exact same thing, except it's only a 3-turn 30 times additional Titleist damage, and it's 4 turns less, so it maxes at 11 turns with a max Limit Break. Now, this is actually a good special ability for Katakuri, because with Katakuri, his attack multiplier overall for his crew is a little low compared to, to some of the other high tier characters that we have in the game right now. And with this character, when you activate the special, you get the tap timing bonus for 5 turns, and that can add a decent amount of damage to your crew, and it enables Katakuri to reach a little bit higher thresholds of damage to enable his extended captain effect, which we'll go over in a little bit. But after we've talked about that, we have the crewmate abilities of Brulee. So her first one will make cerebral characters' Psi Orbs count as beneficial, and her secondary crewmate ability will reduce your crew's paralysis duration by 1 turn. This is actually not a bad effect either, very similar to, Bobbin and Oven from before, where they reduce a certain debuff from your whole crew by 1 turn. We have paralysis with Brulee right here. And now we've finally made it to the big man himself, Charlotte Katakuri, Big Mom Pirates Suite 3. Katakuri is a strength, shooter, cerebral character, and at max level, at level 99, he has 3,700 HP, 1,640 attack, and 250 recovery. Obviously, his statistics are out of this world, extremely powerful, and when you actually max limit break him with max cotton candies, he actually gets the highest attack in the game, 2,090 attack, I believe it is. It's absolutely absurd how much damage this guy can output. He also has 55 cost, like most other SUGO-FEST exclusive characters, and he also has 5 socket spots as well. But as you can see, his captain effect is very, very extensive, so let's go ahead and start breaking this down. First of all, he will boost the attack of fighters, strikers, shooters, powerhouse, and also cerebral characters by 1.825. And this stacks with a character that has both of these classes. So if a character is a fighter striker or a powerhouse cerebral, if it's a unit that has 2 of these classes, they get 1.825 multiplied by 1.825, giving you an overall boost of 3.33 times attack to those characters. Furthermore, he also reduces damage taken by 20%, very reminiscent of SUGO-FEST exclusive Bobbin, and also he will make quick, Psi, recovery, and tandem slots have matching slot effects to your characters as well, and on top of this, he has a chance to delay all enemies depending on how much damage was dealt. Now, the way that this delay works, a little bit different from when this first got announced on Japan. We thought that if you killed the enemy, then you move on to the next room, then it would delay the enemies. That's how we ideally thought this was going to work. However, it only delays at the end of the turn. So if you do not kill the enemy, you will go ahead and delay them depending on how much damage you dealt. So with this example here, or with this information here, we can see that if you deal 100,000 damage, you have a 20% chance of delaying the enemies at the end of the turn. If you deal 500,000 damage, then you will have a 50% chance. If you deal 1,000,000 damage, you will always delay the enemy, of course, unless they have a debuff protector. However, if you deal 2 million damage at the end of the turn, you will always delay the enemy, 100% chance that will delay them through debuff and delay protection. So his captain effect is actually really, really cool. He can do so many different things. You get 3.33 times attack to 5 separate classes. You get 20% damage reduction. 4 out of the 7 natural orbs are beneficial, and also you have a chance to delay the enemies depending on how much damage you deal. So he's a really good captain effect, and the only thing is it means that you cannot bring characters that are free spirit, slashers, or driven characters, because if you bring those characters, they're not going to be getting the 1.825 times boost for that class to that character, meaning that, you know, you're just not going to be outputting as much damage as you potentially can. Now, one of the big downsides to Katakuri, and I have to say this 100% of the time, like, if you're free to play, this character is ideally not for you. I do not suggest pulling for this character if you do not have a well-established box, and I do not recommend re-rolling for this character either. Reasons for that is because a lot of the free-to-play characters that slot into a Katakuri team typically are not like the best characters ever. This character relies heavily on other rare recruits and other SUGO-FEST exclusive characters. So ideally you want to have a well-established box with really good fighters, strikers, shooters, powerhouse, and cerebral characters, and then you can build some well-established, extremely powerful, optimal Katakuri teams. However, if you have an account that is not well established, you don't have many legends, you don't have many rare recruits, you haven't completed a lot of the game, you haven't got all the treasure map characters, you haven't completed all the raids, this character is definitely not for you. You need a lot of characters to have a lot of options for Katakuri to make sure that he can actually work against certain pieces of content. Now let's move on now to the special ability of Charlotte Katakuri. Now, Charlotte Katakuri's special ability starts at 16 turns and it will max at 11 turns, and he does get 1 cooldown reduction from his limit break as well. And what it does, it will go ahead and boost the attack against delayed enemies by 1.75 times for fighters, strikers, shooters, cerebral, and powerhouse characters for 2 turns. And on top of this, he will change strength, dex, quick, psi, int, and block orbs on those 5 classes into matching slots, and he also reduces the cooldowns of those 5 classes for 1 turn. Katakuri's special ability integrates extremely well with his captain effect in the fact that if you do go ahead and get the delay off on the enemy, you can get this conditional boost to pop off all the time against the enemy. And not only that, is when you're getting this conditional boost, you're getting basically a full board of matching orbs, because Katakuri already makes recovery in tandem beneficial. He changes the type slots and block orbs into matching for your team as well, so you're essentially getting a full board of matching orbs when you use the special. You get the conditional boost, and you also reduce the cooldowns. Now, sometimes you may just want to use the special ability just for the cooldown reduction, because a lot of the time against some of the mob stages, you're not going to be able to use the conditional boost anyway, so you may want to just use it just for the cooldown reduction, which is quite fine. A 10-turn reduction, a 10-turn cooldown for the cooldown reduction is quite nice, as well as just getting a full board of orbs. So this actually can be used quite well on like mini boss stages, but this special ability would be abused a lot more if Katakuri actually had that ability to delay enemies when he moves on into a new room, because then you can use the conditional boost wherever you want. That would be absolutely fantastic. However, they didn't code him that way, unfortunately, so you know, you have to deal what you have to do. So you have to deal damage to the enemy first, then delay them, then you can activate the special ability to get the delayed conditional boost, unless if you bring a delayer with you on your crew in order to activate the conditional boost at a certain point wherever you want. However, as a sub-unit, Katakuri, just as a sub by himself, probably doesn't provide that much to your team, unless if you have, as I said, another member on your crew that has already a delay for you, so you can actually abuse the conditional boost. But the fact that he can be used on like a shooter team or a cerebral team just to get a full board of orbs, basically, is quite good. So, as a sub, he doesn't have that much usage, but as a captain, his special ability integrates very, very well with his captain effect. And to wrap up things here, just to literally talk about his crewmate abilities really quick, his first one will go ahead and boost the attack of fighter, striker, shooter, cerebral, and powerhouse characters by 50 points, and he also will go ahead and boost his own attack by 2 times against quick enemies, meaning that as a sub, he does not have any negative damage. He will always have neutral or positive damage, which is great as a sub unit, but as I mentioned, as a sub, he isn't really the best character to use on a lot of teams. So that is going to conclude things, guys. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you guys have enjoyed it, make sure to smack the like button down below. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.